Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is LaShawna Rowe. I am a transition readiness instructor with MCCS Education and Career Services. Today, I'll be giving you your education overview for those of you thinking about going to school. And for those of you who are not thinking about going to school, maybe I can parlay some information to you that would make you take it into consideration. So the things we're going to be talking about today is why go the education route and finding the right path, because you don't want to be going to school all this time and not really clear about what it is you want to do long term. We're going to talk about resources you need to take into consideration when selecting a school and how to apply to a school. And we're also going to be talking about applying your military credit, i.e. through your JST, formerly known as SMART transcript, how you can get those credits to transfer into school so that you're not in school for a long time, and you're also saving money. So, why higher education? This is a question that a lot of people ask, whether they're going to school or whether they're not considering it. Well, in terms of bargaining power, those people who have more education usually have more bargaining power. For example, they usually make more money than those with less education. If you look at the slide here, you can see that the salary of a high school dropout is much less than someone with a bachelor's degree. So in terms of bargaining power, the more education you have, the better off you will be in terms of salary. For the most part, there are always exceptions. If you're still not convinced, then let's look at the unemployment rate. When you're looking at the unemployment rate and the news, they really give you a number, but they do not break the number down for you. In terms of unemployment, we all know that unemployment is high. Last time I checked, it was around 6-7%. But what they fail to mention in the news is unemployment is highest at the lowest levels of education. If you're still not convinced, you can always go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, but I have a chart here for you to look at in the meanwhile so you can do your own comparisons. If you look at the unemployment rate for a high school dropout, for example, you'll see that it's almost double the unemployment rate of someone with a 4-year bachelor's degree. So in terms of unemployment, the more education you have, the more job security you're going to have. So that's also something you want to consider when going to school. The next slide is talking about a program that's very useful for transitioning service members, and this is Cooter. You can go to Cooter by visiting the website below on the slide here. But again, this is going to offer you a plethora of programs to take advantage of. One, your interest profiler. Let's say you're not really sure what you want to do when you separate from the military. Or let's say you have an idea, but you want confirmation of that. You can come here and actually take an interest profiler, and that will ask you several questions. And based on your interests, your abilities, and skills, it will actually identify careers that may be a best fit for you based on how you answer those questions. From that, you can also make a determination of what program you need to take when you go to school, so that when you come out, you're aligned with the profession you want to ultimately take up as a profession. Another valuable resource is going to be the Occupational Outlook Handbook. If you do not have access to this handbook, that is okay. It is also provided electronically at www.bls.gov. This is a valuable resource for so many reasons, but most time when you're talking about a profession, most people really just know what it pays, but they don't know where that profession is projected to be 5-10 years from now. So this will give you an outlook of where professions are headed. The worst thing you could do is get out the military and then secure a job, and that job is in low demand, and you find yourself back on an unemployment line. So coming to this book, you can check out certain professions. It will also tell you how much education you need for that profession, and also give you an outlook of where it's projected to go over the next few years. When it comes to selecting a school, that can be a scary process, and it can also be one that takes a long time because there are so many schools out there. So to help you narrow down the process, we have 3 resources available to you. That is College Board, Peterson's, and also College Navigator. Again, these are valuable resources. And if you're going to be taking the education pathway, we're actually going to explore a lot of these in depth. But if not, you can explore these on your own time. But this is going to give you an extensive listing of what schools offer as far as what programs they offer, what accreditations they hold, what the tuition rate is, so on and so forth. You can also always contact the school's admissions offices And for graduate or current students, they will also have information for you as well. Selecting a school, that's another big decision that you must make if you're considering going to school. And there's certain criteria you want to look for when you're making that selection. First and foremost, you do want to narrow your choices to 3 to 5 schools. This is because schools are, usually they have an application fee. So the more schools you're applying to, the more money you're going to spend out on the application process. You want to also look at the quality of the school. Many people think that schools are all one size fit all, and they are not. They have different personalities. They're known for offering different programs. And so you want to make sure that you find a school that's going to be a best match for you. You also want to find a school that's going to honor your GI Bill benefits and scholarships and grants and so on and so forth. So that's going to be a big consideration, considering school costs a lot of money. You also want to take into account the location of the school. If you don't like long commutes, you might want to look for a school that's going to be within a short traveling distance, or maybe you want to be close to family. So also take that into consideration, as well as living arrangements. Many of you will have to work while going to school and also support yourself. So that's also going to be something that you need to take into consideration as you think about schools and where you're going to be going. All schools also have an application process, and the requirements for each school are going to be different. So you're going to have to really research each school so that you understand what is consistent in their application process. For example, many schools will require entrance exams, and you probably are more familiar with these as the SAT or the ACT. But if you are a transfer student, these are things that could be waived. So you really need to kind of know what you're looking for, and each school will determine that differently. Also, most schools will want a copy of your transcript from high school, and as well as your previous college transcripts if you have that as well. You will also look for military-friendly schools because they will also take into consideration the credits that you earned on your Joint Services transcript, otherwise known as your SMART transcript. Some schools will also require an essay, so having those essay and strong writing skills is going to be a plus. And also letters of recommendation. Some schools ask for 1, some may ask for 3. And again, any financial aid requests of the school. If I don't say anything else, please remember the application process of schools. This is going to be very important. Schools also have deadlines that many of them go by, so you really want to have an understanding of what these are so that you're not missing school because you simply fail to be knowledgeable of the application process. Your Joint Services transcript, this is formally known as your SMART. Every military person has one that lists their military occupation and their training. And these are classes and courses that you have taken in the military that will yield or might yield college credit. So you want to make sure that you are maintaining your JST to be the most up-to-date as possible. That is something that we can help you with at the Education Center. And you also, if you don't have an account yet, you do want to create an account, and you can do so with your CAC. It would be easier for that. And then if you need corrections of any kind, we can also assist you with that at the Education Center. Please do not underestimate the value of your Joint Services transcript. I've seen many people come in, for example, and wanting a 2-year degree, and because they've had so many courses on that Joint Services transcript, they instantly knock a year off of school. So this is a valuable document that will save you money and save you a lot of time. Now we're going to talk about your financing, your financial benefits as service members. Many of you are eligible for the Chapter 30 or the 33 GI Bills. And again, most of you are probably more familiar with that being called the Montgomery GI Bill or the post 9/11 GI Bill. I'm going to go over the Chapter 30 Montgomery GI Bill first to make sure that you guys have a complete understanding of these wonderful financial programs. Chapter 30, otherwise known as the Montgomery GI Bill, is the financial source that's been around for the longest. Most of you are familiar with this one because you paid into it. You remember paying that $1,200 enrollment fee. And then once you have a certain amount of time in, you're eligible to take advantage of this financial benefit. Particularly, this pays out $1,564 per month, and you get 36 months of benefits. Okay, so every month you're going to get $1,564. This amount will be mailed directly to you, and you in turn will be responsible for paying the school. This can be used for a plethora of programs, to include those that you see on the list provided. This educational benefit is not transferable to a dependent, and it has a 10-year delimiting date. So from the time that you EAS, you must use this benefit within 10 years. Okay, and you must also, to be able to use this benefit, your first term has to be an honorable discharge. So now that we've discussed the Chapter 30 Montgomery GI Bill, we're going to move to the post 9/11 GI Bill. If you have active duty service after September 10, 2001, you are eligible to receive post 9/11. There is no enrollment fee for this benefit, so unlike Chapter 30, you didn't have to pay into this benefit. This benefit will pay all public schools at the in-state tuition rate. So if you're going and you're receiving the in-state rate because you're classified as a resident, you don't have to worry about what the school is going to cost you, because it will be covered. Very nice benefit. Also, most people like the fact that there's a monthly housing stipend offered under this bill. So you're going to get BA at the rate of an E5 with dependent, and that will be based on the zip code of the school. You will also get a book stipend in the amount of $1,000 per year to support your book costs while you're in school. So we talked about how much it will pay if you're going to a public school at an in-state rate. But if you're not, fitting into that criteria, or if you're going to a private and foreign school, this is where it kind of gets a little tricky. So let me elaborate on that. First, if you're going to a private or foreign school, the amount that the post 9/11 GI Bill will pay for will be capped at $19,198 per year. Again, that will be capped at $19,198 per year. Anything that exceeds that cost, you will be responsible for covering the difference, unless the school is a yellow ribbon participating school, and I'll talk about that benefit a little further down. Also, if you're going to a public school, but you're not considered an in-state resident, then it will pay out whatever the school charges for their in-state tuition, and you will be responsible for paying the excess up to the cost of your out-of-state tuition. So you really want to be paying attention to the numbers here and understanding if you're going to rate that in-state or out-of-state residency. Very important, because it can save you a lot of money if you can get that in-state declaration. Now, this bill will also cover students that are enrolled in school going in a distance learning capacity, i.e. online. So we'll cover you the same way. However, if you're going to school strictly online, then your BA will be half of the national average for an E5 with dependents. So again, if you're going to school strictly online, you're probably going to receive a lesser BA rate than if you were going to school full-time or in a face-to-face capacity in a traditional format. So if you wanted to, if you're considering going to school online, to get around that, all you would have to do is take one face-to-face class per term, and then that will escalate you back up to the full E5 with dependent amount. And again, I do want to reiterate that BA amount will be based on the zip code of the school. Like its Chapter 30 counterpart, this bill can be used for a plethora of college degree programs, as well as non-degree programs, vocational training, etc. This bill, unlike its counterpart, may also be transferred to family members, i.e. a spouse or a dependent child. You have 15 years to use this bill from the time that you EAS. And I mentioned the Yellow Ribbon Program earlier. The Yellow Ribbon Program is only used in conjunction with your post 9/11 GI Bill, so you will not benefit that same under the Chapter 30 Montgomery GI Bill. This is offered exclusively with post 9/11. The purpose of the Yellow Ribbon Program is to reduce the out-of-pocket expenses you incur as a student because you're going to school maybe at an out-of-state rate or at a private school where usually the tuition is going to be higher. So if you're going to any of those schools, you do want to make sure that they are Yellow Ribbon participants, because those schools are actually volunteering to pay down some of your out-of-pocket costs so that you don't have to pay as much out. The good thing about that is whatever the school contributes, the VA will also match dollar for dollar. So let's say if your school is a Yellow Ribbon participating school and they contribute $2,000, the VA will also then contribute another $2,000 for a total of $4,000. So if you had an outstanding bill and your balance was $4,000, because of the Yellow Ribbon program, you wouldn't have to come out of pocket for anything. So that's a fabulous benefit. Some people may be eligible for a one-time rural benefit as well. So if you're living in a very, very, very remote location where there's less than like 8 people per square mile, or you cannot get to your school by any other mode of transportation, by airplane, you may be eligible for a one-time rural benefit, and the school that you apply for will be the determinant of if you're eligible to receive that benefit. So now let's answer some questions that are frequently asked about these bills. Popular question that is asked is, if I use all 36 months of Chapter 30 benefits, can I still use post 9/11? The answer to that is yes. If you exhaust all 36 months of your Chapter 30 benefits, you are eligible for 12 additional months of post 9/11. So in total, that is going to be 48 months worth of benefits. But the key to this is you must exhaust all of your Chapter 30 benefits, and then you will get the additional 12 months. If you use 12 months of Chapter 30 benefits, another question is, will I still be eligible for 24 months of Chapter 33 post 9/11 benefits? So what I will say to that is this: in whatever combination you choose to use the bills, the highest amount that you will get is 36 months of benefits. The only exception to that is if you're using all of your Chapter 30 benefits, you would get an additional 12 months of post 9/11. Again, that will give you a total of 48 months of benefits. But let's say you use only 12 months of Chapter 30, and then you decide to change over to post 9/11, then your total benefit on the post 9/11 will be 36 months minus the 12 that you already used under Chapter 30. Okay, so it will not exceed 36 months in those situations. Expanding upon the ability to transfer the post 9/11 to spouses and children, again, this can be transferred. There are some stipulations that must be met in order for the transfer to be successful. First and foremost, if you're thinking about doing this, the transfer must take place while you are on active duty, and your dependents must be enrolled into the DEAR system. You must also meet some time and service requirements. You must have at least 6 years of active duty and agree to commit an additional 4 years to initiate the transfer. Again, you must have at least 6 years on duty and volunteer another 4 additional years for the transfer to be successful. The only exceptions to that are high tenured people or service limitations. So there are going to be exceptions in those situations. If you transfer it to a spouse, the spouse will be able to use the benefit immediately. However, if you transfer it to a child, that child will not be able to use the benefit until you have 10 years of active service on your record. So again, your spouse can use it right away. Children, they cannot use it until you reach the 10-year mark of active duty service. If you know that you are definitely going to transfer to your spouse or to your child, you can go to the TEB website, and this website is listed here on your website. You're going to complete the application, and there's a 45-day clock in which you have to do this. So once you start the application, you must complete it within the 45-day window. Once you do this, you're going to take proof to your career planner that the online application has been completed and that you meet the service obligations as far as the time that you have to commit so that you can transfer it. And once those things have been reviewed, they will come back with the decision if it's been accepted or denied. Continuing, enlisted Marines will also have to complete a statement of understanding with your career planner. You can print this from the TEB website, or your career planner can personally give this to you. Officers who are career designated, however, while they are required to complete the SOU, they send it straight to MMSB, so they're not having to go through their career planner if they're career designated officers. And again, your statement of understanding can be found at the following website highlighted under number 6. The next slide is simply telling you how you can go to apply for your GI Bill benefits. So when you are ready to actually use your benefits and you're ready to go to school, you're going to have to fill out the application so that you can receive your certificate of eligibility. In order to do this, you're going to go to www.gibill.va.gov. and you're going to launch the VONAP application. For service members, you're going to choose the Form 221990. However, if it's a family member going to use your benefits, they're going to choose the 221990E. You will know that you're at the right application because the first question will be the option of switching from Chapter 30 to 33. So that is when you're going to make the designation at that time, which one you want to use. Obviously, if you're transferring it to a dependent, they're going to be using the post 9/11. You're going to submit your application online. It's very easy to complete. Doesn't take much time at all, probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Now, the average turnaround time to getting your certificate of eligibility is usually about 6 to 8 weeks. If you're overseas in a location like we are in Japan, then that could go up to 12 weeks. So you want to make sure that you are considering the time frame in which you are applying for this. So my advice to you would be to look at when your school's application deadline is, and then at approximately 3 to 4 months back, I would go ahead and apply for these benefits. And then once you receive your certificate of eligibility, you're going to submit that to your school once at the point that they ask for it. If you want follow-up information for all of the bills, you can look at the following more admins. You may also visit the GI Bill website listed below here on this slide for more information. Another valuable program for separating service members is going to be the Leadership Scholar Program. This is a fantastic program that is offered to separating service members with an honorable discharge. And basically, this program exists as a partnership between the Marine Corps and universities and colleges. There are over 200 participating schools that participate in this program and designate certain spots for you. The purpose of this program is to help honorably discharging Marines continue your education, and it identifies Marines who might qualify to and apply to an institution, and it actually presents you to their admissions office and puts you kind of on a fast track to acceptance if you are qualified under this program. So the best way I can explain this program is it is an extremely strong recommendation and backing from the Marine Corps that states that you will be a tremendous asset to this institution based off of the skills and the leadership traits that you acquired while you were in the Marine Corps. So very good program. I also want to stipulate that if you're not in the Marine Corps, but you are another service branch serving under the Marine Corps Command, you are also eligible for this program. Some of the requirements for this program are you must be an active duty, reserve, or veteran service member who is planning to attending a school as a freshman or transfer student. So this program, unfortunately, is not available for graduate students. It's only available in the first 4 years of school. So for those students seeking an associate or a bachelor's degree. Also, active duty Marines must be honorably discharged before the beginning of the school semester. And you must have a recommendation from your chain of command and meet certain scores on your AFQT and GT tests. Specifically, you have to have an AFQT score of 70 or higher and a GT score of 115 or higher. And you must also be a high school graduate. At this time, GEDs are not considered. As I was saying earlier, each school has its own set of requirements, so each university will dictate its own criteria for admissions. So that being said, if you are trying to go through the Leadership Scholar Program, you must also still meet the school's individual criteria. However, if you want more information about this program, Beth Morgan is your point of contact, and she can be reached at beth.morgan@usmc.mil. Again, that's beth.morgan@usmc.mil. So you might not be ready for school now, but there are some things that you can do now to prepare yourself for success later. We do offer CLEP and Dante's testing. These are tests that you can take to place you out of courses, and you receive credit as if you sat in the physical class. We have all of the testing guides available in our office as well as online if you want to take advantage of these. And we urge you to do this because, again, they're free first and foremost to take all of these tests. And again, it just places you ahead of the game and spending less time in the classroom by testing out of subjects that you may well be knowledgeable on. You can also go ahead and begin requesting your high school and previous college transcripts now because colleges will more likely be asking for those. Any diplomas or certificates also that you might have. You want to check your school's SAT and ACT admissions tests Again, they may require those, but most likely they will not because you are considered a non-traditional student. And if you qualify as a transfer student, most times these tests are waived, so that's going to work in your favor. You may also want to go ahead and look at your JST transcripts. If you're not sure what you're looking at, I urge you to bring them into any of the education centers. We are located on all 6 military installations, so you can just visit the one nearest to you. And if there are any corrections, we can help you to get that process started. Also, your certificate of eligibility, you might want to go ahead and start applying for that if you're going to school in the near future. And also research additional funding. So just because you rate the GI Bills, you also want to consider other financial avenues such as grants and scholarships. That has been my overview on the educational brief. I hope to see you guys in the education pathway. However, if that's not the pathway you have chosen, please understand that we are here to assist you as well, Monday through Wednesday in our office. You can come see us at any time. Our number is 645-3575. We also stand ready to assist you in your educational goals. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and your service, and you have a great day.